Hey there, everyone. Cheers. I've got a delicious cup of coffee, and I'm going to talk about horrible people. There are some really horrible people out there. I mean, there are some people that are just less than desirable to spend time with, and some people who are just ornery or grumpy. There's others who are just outright hostile. But then there are the violent ones, the abusers, the people who take advantage of power and use their wealth or their power to throw it around and make others bend to their will, for example. I guess a good example would be like cult leaders. I don't want to think of any particular examples because not all cult leaders are alike. For example, David Koresh, a lot of people think of the whole Waco thing as you know, the government getting rid of some evil cult. Well, Koresh did not deserve to die. Nobody deserved to die in that compound. That was an exceptional situation, but his followers had joined by choice. I don't know how much forcing was going on, but the point being, how we view others is very subjective, and what we consider to be controlling or, uh, a cult. But I think understanding cult leaders is important because when people have a certain degree of control over others, they have a certain attitude. If you try to call them out on their bullshit, you'll notice whenever one of these people is confronted or interviewed, they're never interviewed. They're until after they get busted so they can continue their fame, right? But no, a lot of people just have such an arrogance about them. And the more people that believe someone, the more arrogant they become. And the more followers a person has, the more people agree with the person, the more they're convinced in their own minds that they know what they're talking about. And most of the time, they don't. I mean, we've got all these idiot prophets like Harold Camp and, these various evangelists claiming the end times are coming. It's always next week, next week, next week. It's going to happen on this date. It's going to happen on this date. And then people continue to follow them, even after the fact, even after they've been proven wrong over and over and time and again. And the same thing with leaders or presidents or, when people have had their trust abused, it seems like they're more likely to convince themselves that they weren't wronged, that something else happened. If a person feels like their truth is ruined, instead of going along with the new truth, they tend to dig their heels in and say, no, something was wrong. It's all a fraud. It's a giant conspiracy. Being a human is hard. There's a lot of different angles to it. I think we can all agree on a few things. Well, probably not. I just like to say that, the people in this world who abuse other people and take advantage are some of the worst kinds of people. And I very much enjoy seeing people get their karma. But the bigger question is, what do we do about the shitty people in our society? I mean, they're not just cult leaders. I focused on that, but they're politicians, they're bankers, they're CEOs. They're just average citizens, killers, whoever it might be. What do we do about the problems in our society and the people who cause them for others? People may say prisons, but we have overloaded prisons. Even if you release all the nonviolent offenders, we still have too many prisoners. I suppose that a lot of the crime comes from disparity, but a lot of the abuse of power comes from wealth. Interesting world to live in. And any and all thoughts welcome. I'm out.